Psalms chapter 18, verses 7 and 8. Then the earth quaked and trembled. The foundations of the mountains shook. They quaked because of his anger. Smoke poured from his nostrils. Fierce flames leaped from his mouth. Glowing coals blazed forth from him. In the first three verses of chapter 18, David is proclaiming to all that God is his rock, his fortress, and his Savior. In the next three verses of chapter 18, David is surrounded by his enemies. He is in great distress, but he's letting his enemies know, I have called out to my God, and he has heard me. In chapter 7 and 8, we see God starting to move on David's behalf. You see, that's the key. When David prays, God answers. If all we do is pray, and it falls on deaf ears and God doesn't answer, what kind of God would he be? But we know we serve the kind of God that hears us and he answers us. And in this moment, God starts to stir in response to David's prayer. And when God moves, mountains shake. Why? Because his wrath is being kindled. Even the mountains know enough to be afraid when God starts to move. And when I say God starts to kindle his wrath, I mean he's starting to fire up the fiery furnace of his wrath. Great coals of anger for his enemies are being poured into that furnace. Smoke is pouring out his nostrils. Flames are coming out his mouth, and the coals of judgment are blazing in his eyes. All of creation trembles and shakes at the stirring of the wrath of God. And before all the enemies of God even see him coming in the clouds, all their strength has fled from them, and fear takes over, and all their courage has fled as they start to realize the God of David, he is real. David's God, he is the one true God, the creator of all heaven and earth, the judge of all mankind. And in the day of his great wrath, no man could stand against the fiery flames of his judgment. The only people that will ever withstand the day of judgment are those who are God's people, people that he calls his own, and he will move mightily on the behalf of those who love him. God has reserved his wrath for those who reject him. God's people will never see his wrath. In fact, he will pour out his wrath upon our enemies. You mess with God's people, you mess with God himself. And as for our enemies, the fiery wrath of God this way comes.